there. We're almost there. We're about to be celebrating Passover holiday, and actually celebrating the anniversary, the 3,333rd anniversary of going out of Egypt. What is the general theme that we can share and something that we can go into this year Pesach? So in general, the holiday of Passover, the holiday of Pesach, the beautiful holiday, is the most observed Jewish holiday. And for that matter, is the most observed, unbroken chain of observance in history. The Jewish people have been observing the holiday of Passover for 3,333 years. And we sit around the Seder table and we focus. We have the Haggadah. The Haggadah is our script. We reenact, we relive freedom, going out of Egypt and experiencing freedom, experiencing what it means to be the people. Who's I don't know where's it coming from?
Said Ira.
Oh.
It stopped. Okay.
It's fine. Sorry. So we're experiencing this freedom. And what is our text? The text is the Haggadah. I'd like to share with you a story. You may have heard it earlier, previously, but it's apropos for the Seder night. I was once traveling, and sitting next to me on a plane, a gentleman looks at me. I was learning some Chumash and the Torah at the time, and the man asks me if this is Hebrew. I said, yes, it is. And we got into a discussion. I asked him, so tell me what you do. And this person he's a tenor in the opera. That's what he does. And we got discussing about, what he does and so on. And I found it fascinating. So I asked him, based on the inspiration of the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, that everything a person sees or hears, we have to learn a lesson in serving Hashem. And so I asked him, tell me something you learned from your masters. Tell me something you learned from your teachers. He said, I'll tell you something. In my field, everyone wants to express and show and showcase their unique talents and abilities. And so my teacher taught me that when you are out there performing and you have this urge, you want to showcase, you want to express your unique talents, you have to be very careful. You should know that the text that you are using in your performance was composed by great masters, the greatest masters. So in your quest to showcase your unique talent, your unique ability, always remember, don't change any word, don't change any note, because they were composed by the greatest masters. You want to express yourself? Express yourself, your unique talent and ability within the words and within the notes. But do not change one word or one note. I said, wow, what an incredible lesson. Thank you. Because this indeed is an amazing lesson for each and every one of us. We are celebrating our freedom. And how do we celebrate freedom? I mean, freedom. We all know what freedom is. Freedom is to be free. What does freedom mean? But what is freedom? When you tell a child you don't need to go to school,
Free.
is that freedom?
A short.
Of course, it's freedom. Is that truly freedom? Don't send your child to school. That's the greatest freedom. Don't send your children to school.
Freedom to run.
You don't need to go to work.
Right.
No need to go to work. Is that freedom? Okay,
Sure.
so that's it. No more work.
Okay.
So we enjoy it. We had, remember, we're reminiscing back a year ago today.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first few days in the lockdown, okay, we get to enjoy. We don't have to be in the office.
What's
We don't
wrong
have
with
to
that?
go out. 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and is this freedom? Is this freedom,
Understood.
or is this another? Or is this really another form of another lockdown?
Wow.
So, freedom is not just being free and not doing any work or not doing anything. That's not freedom. The greatest freedom is being able to express our truest self. That is the greatest freedom. The greatest freedom is when we are able to unlock our potential. The greatest freedom is when we are able to go out and truly have our greatest fulfillment and fulfilling our responsibilities. That is the greatest freedom. And how do we express that freedom? So for this, the greatest lesson of freedom is going back to 3,333 years ago. We left Egypt. We're free. But now what? We know that every country that experienced freedom from a dictator, and now they're free, history tells us that afterwards it was greater chaos. Unless there was a plan of action, there's more chaos than before. So what's the plan? And that's why, by the way, after every step of the way, when there was a problem, after going out of Egypt, the first reaction was, let's go back. Because it was better before. Unless we stick to the plan. What's the plan? The plan was to receive the Torah. And the Torah is our script for freedom. The Torah is what empowers each and every one of us to fulfill our greatest freedom with greater meaning and purpose in everyday life. And so every year on this anniversary of freedom, we don't just reminisce the past. We are really re-experiencing what it means to have freedom, what it means to change the world. And we do it with a script called a Haggadah. We do it with experiencing the Seder. And while we may, in the course of things, be urged, let's change things around. I mean, this is kind of ancient. Why do we need these items on the Seder plate? Let's change it around. Let's have different items on the Seder plate. Let's have a different script. Let's remember those words of the fella that held in tenor that I was sitting next to. Remember, you want to express yourself. Don't change a single word. Don't change a single note. They were composed by the greatest masters. The Haggadah was composed by the greatest masters. The Haggadah, when we're sitting at the Seder table, we are connecting to an unbroken chain that has been tested, tried and tested, generation after generation. While all the other greatest, mightiest nations are all in Wikipedia, Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live, because we were given this script. And when we connect on the night of the Seder, we have the matzah. That matzah, especially the shmura matzah, which is round, representing the infinite. It's handmade, expressing the effort that it was put in, representing that the efforts of our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, going back to an unbroken chain of celebrating what it means to be a Jew. That is what we're tapping into tomorrow evening at the night of the Seder. I'll conclude with, there's a blessing that the Rebbe shared on the occasion of Pesach, an English blessing, and I'll share this with us, with everyone here. The Rebbe writes, greeting and blessing on the occasion of the forthcoming Yom Tov Pesach. I send you my prayerful wishes that the festival of our freedom bring you and yours true freedom. Freedom from anxiety, material and spiritual, from anything which might distract from serving God wholeheartedly and with joy, and to carry over this freedom and joy into the whole year. Wishing you and yours a kosher and happy Pesach.
Wow.
Let us tap into this incredible energy, and we need this now more than ever to redefine, as we are still not under the same conditions as we were last year. Thank God there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we still need a greater freedom. But this gives us an opportunity of redefining that freedom, of really focusing on what real freedom is. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from anything which bars us and drags us down. Freedom to be able to fulfill not only our own potential, but the potential of this beautiful world, a godly world, revealing the godliness which is within it. Let us tap into this and let us truly experience this freedom and have the fulfillment of Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim, that we open our doors and there is Eliyahu Hanavi, and there we're able to experience the fulfillment that next year in Jerusalem we will have a much better world, a world of Mashiach with Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Lashana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lashana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lashana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lashana haba b'Yerushalayim, Habnuya Yerushalayim, 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 Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, 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 Yerushalayim. Have a good Shabbos and a good Yom Tif.
Good Yom Tov.
Kosher v'sameach.
Shabbos, Yom Tov.
Have a wonderful, wonderful Pesach. God willing,